Human society the world over has values, and those values are ranked. This includes what society values in men and in women. And it's absolutely a reality that the thing that human society values the very most in women is physical beauty. We may not like that fact. We may think it should be different. We may argue that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. We may point to body positive marketing campaigns. You may argue that you don't value physical beauty in a woman above other more important things. But all of this resistance is not going to get us anywhere. Why? Because it's a refusal to accept that this is still the way things are. It is still a reality that in the world today, the most valued thing in a woman is physical beauty. What does all this mean? It means that when a woman is physically beautiful, people see value in her. She has a thing of power. She is esteemed within society, and so people assume that she can have it all and that she's happy, or at least she should be. All the focus and attention in society is placed on why it's so hard to be a woman who is not considered physically beautiful. That's a story that's been told over and over again. You already know that story. But you don't know the other one. Because of this, for the sake of awareness, in today's video, I'm going to outline for you why it is so hard to be a beautiful woman. 1. Before we come into this time-space reality as a physical human, we are choosing the incarnation that's going to serve our expansion the best. We're observing the upsides and the downsides to each choice. Any single thing that we choose comes with upsides and downsides. We could call this contrast. We opt into certain contrast by going into any specific incarnation. And most people do not know that all those who opt into the incarnation of a beautiful woman are opting into the contrast of decreasing their likelihood of ever finding a compatible mate. The reason for this is down to the fact that society values beauty so much in women that a person, especially a man, can increase their own self-esteem and societal esteem by being with a beautiful woman. A beautiful woman is something that everyone will desire to have. But all those people who will desire to have her are not all compatible to her, are they? And those who are wanting her primarily for self-esteem and societal esteem, which the majority of them are, will not be compatible to her. So essentially what's happening is a beautiful woman is trying to find a needle in a haystack. Problem is, in order to get to her, all of the people who want her are going to pretend to be that needle. And so what beautiful women have in their hands is a recipe for relationship hell. I need you to stop for a moment here, because you must remember that life is about relationships. And painful relationships means a painful life. And this leads me to our next point. 2, because the subconscious transaction that most partners, especially men, have with beautiful women is, I'm doing this for esteem. I'm doing this so being with you makes me feel good and better about myself, and to make it so other people think highly of me. If a beautiful woman does anything that goes against this unexpressed and unagreed to transaction, she will find herself in conflicts first. Her partner will change their mind about her being what they want, and then ultimately she will lose the relationship. And what it takes to break this hidden transaction is almost nothing, such as having human needs, being honest. In this case, we're talking about direct negative feedback to her partner, or behaving or dressing in a way that is unseemly. A beautiful woman is an object in other people's worlds, like a trophy. It is very hard for a beautiful woman to find a person who wants an actual person-to-person relationship with her. Very important that you understand there is a very, very big difference between being lusted over and being loved. In the same vein, it is a complete misconception that beautiful women are never rejected. In fact, they are one of the most rejected groups of people on the planet. It's just not going to look like they're being rejected on the outside at face value, especially when they have people lined up around the block to be with them. But I need you to look closer. The reality is no one knows who she is and isn't. Everyone is lined up around the block because of the overlay fantasy they have about a beautiful woman and what it will give them to be with her. They are in a relationship with their preconceived idea of her, and she cannot live up to that idea that they have. And when she doesn't live up to it, she will be rejected. And that happens over and over and over and over again. 3. As people, by the time we reach an age where we're ready to date, we have been set up by the process of socialization to be totally inauthentic. We spend our time trying to employ a strategy for how to get someone we want, rather than spending our time advertising who we genuinely are so a person would love and value us because they would recognize us, right? And most of all, we've been set up to dupe anyone that we date. This duping pattern within humanity is a sad reality of relationships in general, no matter what people look like. If you want to learn more about this pattern, by the way, you can watch 2 of my videos. The first is titled, What is the Dupe Pattern? And the second is titled, The Great Dupe of Dating. The duping pattern is 1,000 times worse in the lives of beautiful women. People, especially men, will go to great lengths to figure out everything they can about a beautiful woman that they're interested in, so as to pretend to be exactly what it is that they know she wants and needs, so that they can attain her, and then, either quickly or slowly, they drop the facade, and the beautiful woman ends up in the exact opposite of what she signed up for and was sold. 4. Being a beautiful woman is an intensely isolating experience full of fragile connections. Let's talk about insecurity in both men and women and how this leads to a beautiful woman's isolation. People are very insecure in general, especially when it comes to their partners. So, with beautiful women, you tend to see the following pattern. Male friends will be friends with her, that is, up until they get into a relationship with another woman, at which point she becomes a threat to that other woman. And in order to maintain the security with the woman that they are with, what are they going to do? They'll break off connection with the beautiful woman who poses a threat. Now let's look at women. Female friends will be friends with them, that is until they get into a relationship with another man and fear that that man is going to fall in love with them instead, with the beautiful woman instead. At which point, she becomes a threat to that relationship. And in order to maintain security with the man that they are with, they will pull away from their relationship with the beautiful woman. Okay, so who's left? It's a total misconception that the most beautiful women enjoy social popularity and have lots of friends. In fact, they have very few, if any, actual friends who will navigate the insecurity elements that beauty brings to the table and who will commit to holding on to the relationship. 5. Jilted lover dynamics. It's a real argument as to whether it is possible for a man to simply remain friends with a beautiful woman without falling in love with her and without developing sexual attraction to her and wanting more. Now remember, we're not talking about love, we're talking about being in lust. And when a beautiful woman rejects a man in any way, his ego is often so wounded that he will turn against her as if she's an enemy and try to wound her back. This is also the case when a woman is actually in a relationship with a man and ends that relationship. It's much more common in their breakups that the breakups are not amicable because of this jilted lover dynamic. You'll see all the manifestations of jilted lover syndrome in the people around her. Yes, these dynamics can take place in a same-sex relationship too. It is not emotionally safe to have a jilted lover, and often, need to watch the crime channel anymore? It's not physically safe either. 6. Beauty is a trigger to the egos of other people, similar to money and fame. It activates the human ego. When the human ego is triggered, it creates zero-sum games, whereby it does not consider the other person's best interests. As a result, beautiful females are taught systematically that they cannot trust others because people so often end up playing zero-sum games with them. A beautiful woman does not have to do anything to upset other people's self-concepts other than to exist. For example, simply existing can make other women feel bad about themselves. All of the negative manifestations of the human ego are amplified in those who are around a beautiful woman. So that you can get a little bit of a taste of this, here are just some examples. You've got power games and struggles. You've got jealousy. You've got resentment. You've got envy, defensiveness, unfriendly competition, blame, criticism, judgment, bragging, the fight for superiority, parasitic dynamics, use in relationships, projections, and betrayal. And as if that wasn't bad enough, people make the beautiful woman responsible to do things to calm the ego reactions of other people. For example, tone down their looks so other women can feel good about themselves, or don't act friendly to men so they don't feel led on, or so those men's partners don't feel insecure. The ego being triggered is not a good or safe experience for anyone, most especially the beautiful woman. The way that people's egos are triggered by a beautiful woman makes for a very painful and dangerous life for her. And if you don't believe me, just think back to the witch trials, when men felt out of control of their own arousal near these women, and as a result of it, decided that they were bewitched. And as a result, these women ended up burned alive or drowned. Now, just because doing this kind of stuff is now illegal in most places, society has invented brand new ways, especially in the era of cancel culture, to burn and drown beautiful women. 7. Society has revolted against the idea that what is valuable about a woman is beauty, while at the same time not actually managing to change it. And so, society is a huge mixed message. But this revolt has caused a lot of pain to beautiful women because it has made them simultaneously valued and also the villains. And as if living with this mixed message were not painful enough, it has made it so that beautiful women are constantly fed with negative messaging. Messaging like society needs to show beautiful women that they are not all that important or all that special. Messaging like, because she is beautiful, she's crap on the inside and shouldn't actually be desired by men because of it. She's dumb or not nice. This is in contrast to the archetype of the fat or unattractive but good-natured woman who absolutely should actually be desired by men because she actually deserves it, and because so many of the body positive campaigns are being spearheaded by women specifically who have spent their life not being considered beautiful and suffering from that effect, and who feel high degrees of pain about the women who were. So many of them have created anti-beautiful women undertones to these campaigns and these movements. Just like women who were hurt by men joining women's rights movements, and those movements taking on an anti-man undertone. They seek to rip the power away from beautiful women as if it is beautiful women who are the bad guy in the story, who must be pulled off of those pedestals that they never deserved. Beautiful women are also always inundated with the presumption that they are stupid. People cannot wrap their heads around the idea of a very beautiful woman unpacking deep philosophical concepts, nor winning a Nobel Prize for physics. In the same vein, society has no interest in hearing about the pains and sorrows of beautiful women. Their sorrows attract scorn. Their pain is treated like the tears of the king, like beautiful women are too blessed to be hurt, so their pain is never seen, heard, felt, or acknowledged. 8. Being a beautiful woman is like living in a fishbowl or being an animal at the zoo. You attract attention, and a lot of it. And this means you always have the pressure of other people's attention. Anytime you step out into the world, every move you make is being watched and judged. You are under a social microscope, and believe me, that is a lot of pressure. 9. Because beauty is intimidating, most of the people who are willing to approach a beautiful woman are people who are not intimidated, and also rescuers who wait for a beautiful woman to be in trouble to make their move. This actually increases the odds of a beautiful woman being approached by and getting into a relationship with a person with dangerous psychology, such as narcissists, sociopaths, and other people on the antisocial spectrum. Also, rescuers, who will wait until that beautiful woman is in trouble, is harmed to make their move. But they have such low self-esteem that to be secure in their relationship, they need the object of their fancy, the beautiful woman, to remain on the floor and dysfunctional in some way, in order to believe that they'll stay with them. Thus, they will employ all kinds of tactics to keep the person that they rescue incapacitated and in need of them. There are so many wonderful people who the beautiful woman will never meet. Why? Because they're too intimidated to strike up a relationship with her. Also, several studies have shown that people tend to move farther away from a beautiful woman on the pathway or the sidewalk in these normal interactions, creating much larger distance in common social interactions for beautiful women. Super isolating, right? 10. People strip beautiful women of their merit. No matter how excellent they may be or how hard they may have worked to get to the level of success they achieved, people negate this and assume that their success is simply something that they have because of how attractive that they are. Maybe it was even given to them. It's a sad reality statistically that beautiful women are less likely to be hired for high-level jobs that require authority and competence. And it's also statistical that if you are more beautiful than the person of the same sex who is hiring you for a job, your chances of getting that job are abysmal. 11. Many beautiful women never discover who they really are, because for many of them from day one, all the attention and emphasis was put on the way they look. They were led to believe that the only thing that mattered was that. Their entire identity, therefore, revolves around their looks. They are never helped to direct their attention inside to themselves. to discover who they are, their boundaries, their likes, their dislikes, and other aptitudes and interests. Their unique character is not unwrapped like it is in other children and teens. They are not given the grounds to develop a personality outside of the one that other people project onto them. And this leads to a feeling of deep emptiness and also inevitable identity and life crisis, and also deep levels of isolation because of that lack of intimacy. 12. Beautiful women are usually always the ones that are blamed when it comes to infidelity concerns. For example, if a man directs his attention towards a beautiful woman or cheats on his partner, God forbid, with a beautiful woman, it's not him, it's the beautiful woman who is blamed for it, as if she's the problem for having been so tempting and enticing. People also blame the beautiful woman for the bad things that happen to her, such as being taken advantage of sexually, because of being sexually attractive, rather than the person who's the one taking advantage. Many beautiful women have been blamed for being sexually assaulted, harassed, even raped, and even incest, as if being beautiful is the instigation. In line with this, when you are physically attractive, being friendly is almost always perceived as flirtation, and that's a scientific fact. 13. Being beautiful affects the quality of your medical care. People link good looks with health. This means symptoms, pain, illness, and ailments are taken less seriously when people are good looking. Medical professionals can miss a whole lot because of this bias. The medical condition of a beautiful woman is often minimized and ignored, and it doesn't take a genius to see how much of a problem this is. Now let's go further. This is an extreme problem when a beautiful person needs mental health or medical care for anything related to body image issues. A beautiful woman's body image issues, which believe me they have, no matter how severe, are immediately brushed off, mocked, and scoffed at. They're not taken seriously, and so they're not addressed. 14. Constant sexual harassment. A beautiful woman is subject to relentless sexual harassment, things like being touched against her will, sexual verbal commentary, sexual gestures, pressuring, their path being blocked so they can't get away, people touching them accidentally on purpose, predatory sexual ogling, lewd jokes made at their expense, being followed, and sexual advances, despite it being made very clear that those advances are unwanted. 15. Beautiful women are led to believe that the only thing people value about her is her looks. This is painful because she doesn't feel loved for anything else, and while this causes her pain because she wishes it were different, i.e. she wishes that somebody really loved her for what was inside, it simultaneously makes her desperate to maintain the only thing that she was taught was ever desirable or valuable about her. So there's a deep fear of losing her looks. This turns into a new kind of hell the older the beautiful woman gets. Because basing someone's value on something that society also says goes away with age means that a beautiful woman will be desirable for a time and then be forgotten about and no longer valued, like an old toy that a child was once obsessed with and then grows tired of playing with and discards. This leads to so much emotional pain, it is indescribable, and can lead a beautiful woman down the path of desperately trying to maintain her youth and beauty through very extreme measures. And while we are calling out the painful realities that we need to accept about this, there is definitely a scale when it comes to the degree of beauty. Why is this important? Because relative to all of these patterns, the more progressively beautiful that a woman is perceived, the more intense these patterns get and the worse these downsides get. Becoming aware means perceiving the full reality of things, and people are not perceiving the full reality of what it is to be a beautiful woman. The pain of being a beautiful woman is usually completely unseen, hence all the focus today on pretty privilege. Well, guess what, guys? What you're calling pretty privilege comes with a cost, and it's a cost that most people would never actually choose to pay if they saw it. Have a good week.